We got some hints from the Nightfall Siege event. Well, it's finally here. The Metropolis Maneuvers have been introduced to DC Dark Legion. We'll go ahead and discuss what exactly this entails. Now that I have a general sense to get to know what this new event is, essentially is going to be an asynchronous event that is going to last for about 2 days. As some of you would notice, you saw that there was a preparation phase right at the beginning where we were essentially assigning rosters. So there was assigning team compositions to each one of those slots that were available to us. Now, some of us had expanded rosters so we could do more than 4, more than 5. Some of us even did 6. Some had minimal rosters, so they had to curtail down to whatever they were able to put up in the defensive front. Then, after the clock switch, now we were going to go into the attack. So we could then form 4 compositions that we could put together and then send those jets out to go ahead and try to bring down the opponent garrisons, essentially, is what this is coming down to. So at least from here in this from my angle here, I actually get to see how my league's compositions were assigned to each one of these garrisons, including the Daily Planet. And of course, how everything then arranged out is that the stronger squads essentially were placed to the Daily Planet. Now, strategy-wise, you're going to have to discuss with your league exactly how many rosters you really want, especially the players that have the big rosters, that have more heroes in their arsenal to put them. Because one of the things that we were noticing is that it could conceivably be that because I put my 7th best roster as an example, and it wasn't really one that was synergistic in its sense, right? There was just a hodgepodge, just all mixed up, no faction tag really to it. It could have, because of the BP difference, it could have knocked out somebody else's roster that actually might have had a little bit more synergy. And that's exactly what we're going to try to get from this evaluation here, based on how many squadrons can be placed on each one of these. But that's something that we're going to eventually iron out and see how we can optimize the defenses that our league does afford us. Now, this is all also in accordance to how many active participants you have in your league. So right now, my league easily has 90 to 93 very active members that actually garrison. So, of course, if you only have 50, yeah, then you're going to want to try and throw everything that you can as a league to this to make sure that you add as many squadrons as you can to each one of these garrisons. All right. So, for my purposes here, I still have 2 rounds of attacks to do. And one of the things that, at least that I've noticed here, is that as we, send out our jets and are able to then chop down each one of these defenses, that as we start then not only downsizing the garrisons in the Daily Planet, once we crush everything out, then it resets. And then we can go again based on how many turns each one of us still have. But as you can see here, based on the power level, at least in the matchmaking here for this first set, and I'll come back to that in a little bit, our opponent's a little bit stronger than my league. So they have been able to go and cycle this a little bit more, right? They've been able to go multiple loops in bringing down the Daily Planet, which is why they have 1,200 points. My league here is still on the 240, so that leads me to believe that right now we've only been able to do the Daily Planet once, given how stacked up that particular set of rosters is here. So now one of the things, at least that I'm able to see from here, is that at least I know that if I have the power to try to bring somebody in the Daily Planet, I'm going to try to go for that, or otherwise I'm just going to try to collect as many points as it comes here. But eventually down the line, I think that once we start learning our opponents and how strong our opponents are, that then as a league, we can start working towards, okay, how many garrisons do we need to bring? Do we need to go for the daily planet to get the maximum amount of points? Because there's a tight race. So you want to make sure that you're able to optimize the turns each one of your league mates has. But at this point in time, because we are just getting used to the mode as it is, right now we're just saying, look at the roster, see which ones you think you can hit, bring it down, get that stamina down, work on your honor points, and then we'll go on and move on to the next match as we are getting familiar with this. So this is essentially now, as you can see, all of my squadrons here have been recovered. So I can look and see here who's up next. You can kind of then get an idea of the type of composition that you're going to go up against. And as you can see here, this league that we're going up against is a formidable one, and they have a very stacked up roster. So that's essentially what's going to come down here. Now, for my purposes, I would say, yes, I would try to, try to weaken this out based on my roster that I have. So that's what I'm going to try to do. I'm going to try to weaken that, and it might not go very well, which is fine, but at least I know that I'm able to contribute to try to bring the daily planet down. So I'm going to let this play out. I'm probably going to lose this, but essentially what it is you're just trying to make sure that you optimize your squadrons and to make sure that you're able to bring down these compositions, okay? And to then you are then getting the honor points that you need to then rank up high, and you do the battles that you need to make sure that you can collect these set of rewards here. So as I've noticed with some of my league mates, of course, they want to rank up in the battle honor system a little bit high to make sure that they can collect these points here. So I have seen different strategies where some of them may just be going for the easy battles here to try to collect as many of those points as they can. We're definitely down the line, we're going to have to talk about optimizing our squadrons, right? Make sure that we're using the squadrons that we are able to, that we know are going to be able to possibly weaken a very strong team or bring it down, just so we can up the burden on our weakest members. So this here, number one, as an asynchronous event, is perfect because everybody can do it on their own time. However, it's going to take some working. It's going to take some strategy, because there are going to be points where some of our league members, if the stronger ones, that may have to pull back a little bit and wait for those weakened squadrons to get chopped down, or just concentrate on that daily planet and try to weaken that particular sector out. That's kind of the approach that I've been taking with this, is that I am trying to focus on trying to bring these tough squadrons down. But at the same time, we also do have to recognize that we do get points if we bring down these garrisons as well. Again, this is all part of the strategy. You are going to have to talk to your league about how to go about this and make sure that you have a direction in this. So from my perspective here is that we will have one R4, one of our R4s that is going to kind of be our chief commander to try to direct us as we are learning here as to how to process this, to kind of say, okay, based on the point systems here, how tough we are, or how we perceive our opponent weakness or strength is, then we will probably want to concentrate and try to bring down all these garrisons. Let's worry about the daily planet later. Or let's try to weaken that daily planet and then work down. So just kind of things like that is what you're going to really have to emphasize in terms of a league and how you're going to do your strategy here. Now, individually, just do exactly what I just did. I kind of just looked at the rosters and I said, hey, do I have a shot? My stamina is probably a little bit low, but do I have a shot to bring any one of these squadrons down? Especially the ones that look really strong. I can come in here and look, and yeah, some of these here, look, with blue jets, yes, those look easy. Those look easy points. For me, it's perfect, but for my league, that's a benefit. So again, think about how are you going to approach this, if you're going to do it more from an individual perspective, or you're going to do it more to help your league out. So that's essentially how this is structured out in terms of the event as a whole. Now, I will say this, based on my discourse activity and how people are perceiving this, except for the matchup at the moment, everybody's enjoying this because, number one, you're doing it on your own pace. You know you get multiple turns. You have a 30-minute cooldown. And you know that in some way, shape, or form, you're going to contribute to your league. So there's no schedule set. You know, you don't have to set, for some people, set your alarm at 5 in the morning to make a Guardian challenge. You're doing it on your own time. You know what your limitations are. You know where you could possibly contribute the most by picking up the select one. The only tight period that I noticed from some people was that when everything else here was taken down and the only thing left was the Daily Planet, and the squadrons were just way beyond their point. So either they just had to go and try to weaken the stamina of the composition and essentially be sacrificing lambs, or wait for the stronger members to try to chisel that down. So eventually they got to a composition that they thought maybe they could try to beat or severely weaken. And so that's kind of how that whole process is going to play about. Now, the matchmaking system here at the beginning was really simplistic. Essentially what happened, at least from what I noticed in talking to other leagues in my server, essentially what they did is they took 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 down the line, and they matched them up. And that's the first one. So I do hope that it's not going to be just an intra-server event, because it will be more enjoyable, especially when the matchups are equivalent, when the leagues are equivalent, because then strategy plays a role. It's not all about who has the strongest and who can bulldoze the easiest. So once the matchmaking system works out, and we know that this can scale up beyond the server that you're in, I think that this event definitely will be one that people are going to be engaged with and thrilled with. And then hopefully down the line, there'll be some wrinkles that are added to it. And, you know, as a game mode, is an interesting one. I'll give them that. They really took now the idea of what I thought the Nightfall Siege event could have been, and they expanded it out a little bit more. That's kind of the whole layout here for the Metropolis Maneuvers. So, of course, the point systems for each one of these garrisons is different. Of course, you're going to get more points if you do bring down the Daily Planet. So that's what you want to do. If you click here on this button, you can kind of see then the defenses and how you're doing according to how many turns they still have. As you can see here, it looks like they reset us again. And that's probably why they have the 1,200 and some points already, because they've been able to go multiple times. But here it looks like they reset us again, so they might just be running out of turns, so they don't have as many anymore. And it looks like at least here we were able to at least get them to go once, and that's essentially at least something that our league can say, okay, at least we were able to at least bring their Daily Planet once. So that's essentially what I'm gonna try to finish up here, and try to make sure that I get all my turns in and get as many battles that I can, so I can collect my individual rewards, and then hopefully collect enough honor points where then I can get some of these other rewards here as well. So I do wonder what you guys' perception is of the Metropolis Maneuvers. Is there anything that you would change? As of right now, really the only thing that I would really change is to make sure the equivalency of the matchmaking system, which is something that I know they're having troubles with any event right now. But just to make sure that if they do want to make sure that this is enjoyable week in and week out, that they do try to match leagues according to their power level, and not just do some arbitrary scale where they're just matching 1 versus 1 or 1 versus 2 from another server or something like that. Great idea. I think that aside from the bugs that we saw early on, everything else is working well. And so far, from what I've seen on my Discord, has been favorable views, except for the matchmaking. That's pretty much it. And I think that this is going to be a neat game mode that people at least can interact with. It's still jet-based, which I understand that's what Fun Plus wants to do in terms of any type of content that the game has to offer. But at least it's something that you know that you can do on your own time, and then you're not restricted to a 40-minute period. And if you're in a weird time zone, that you have to set your alarm for. All right. I'll do it for this video. Thank you all very much for tuning and watching. I will see you all in the next DC Dark Legion video, and do please hit like and subscribe on your way out.